I'm looking at this hilarious caption, and basically you have a pilgrim and some Indians. And the pilgrim says to the Indians, "Without us, you'll still be worshiping the sun." And the Indians' reply to the pilgrim is, "Dude, the sun is real." That's to say that, of course, the God that the pilgrims had pointed the Indians to isn't real. And many of us look at manifestation the exact same way. And like I said, I found this caption very funny because, like I said, many people look at God no more than an upper level of Santa Claus or an upper level of the Easter Bunny or whatever holiday you can ascribe God to. But Scripture says this: God's eternal power and character cannot be seen. But from the beginning of creation, God has shown what these things are like by all He has made. That's why those people don't have any excuse. What people? Many people were saying in Paul's time that God's not real. And Paul, in a letter to the Romans, says, listen, only thing you need to see is the byproduct of what God is doing, His creation. Why is this relevant to you? Everything that's in your life is the byproduct of thinking. Quantum physics, quantum theory bears this out, that everything is done at a quantum level and is manifested in what we call the physical realm. Quantum physics talks about a wave and a particle duality. If something is a wave, then you can't see it as a particle, and if it's a particle, you can't see it as a wave. In the spiritual realm, we call this spiritual and material. So when we're talking about the spiritual and the material, or the wave and the particle, everything has its origin in the spiritual, or mind, or the wave, and it's manifested in what we call the physical or the particle. All thoughts are creative. And of course, we can look at biblical references. We can also look at scientific references, and the list goes on. All stated the same thing. How is this relevant to you? Many times when you hear people talking about manifestation, law of attraction, law of assumption, to many, even to myself early on, I saw it as a bunch of make-believe because I thought what we call reality was the real in the world of existence, and everything else was make-believe. But what you will come to discover is that everything that is so-called real had its origin first and foremost in the mind of men and women, and is outpictured into what we call reality. There's nothing that you can look at that's currently around you that didn't have its origin first and foremost as an ideal. When the pilgrim says, look, without us, you'll still be worshiping the sun, and the Indian says, hey dude, the sun is real. Many of us are living life backwards. Now what do I mean? We're living from a have, do, be mentality. We believe that having in the physical realm is the means of success. When we have enough money, we'll do the things that money will allow us to do, and then we'll be happy. So we're really moving against the flow of the universe. The truth of the matter is we operate from a be, do, have. First, you come from a state of being. Being is a spiritual aspect. This is not something, you can't see being. You can't see who a person is being in his core. You see the outpicturing of whatever he or she is portraying. A person can portray success, for example, and within still feel very insecure, and then they wonder why many of their ventures and so forth tend not to be successful. This is because they're operating from a being of insecurity or not being successful. As we change our state of being, then we begin to create the byproduct of that new state. So, for example, if we're looking at more money, then you have to begin to live from a state of being prosperous. And a lot of that happens when we begin to just operate from an attitude of gratitude for the things that we have currently. And as we begin to give thanks, as we come from a place of gratitude, then of course we attract more of that into our lives. So what is it that you want to create? Is it a loving relationship? Is it better health? Is it more money? Then you begin to act from the state of being. Then you begin doing, and the byproduct you'll begin having. But like I said, most of us are operating from the opposite flow of being. We're trying to have first, and we say, let me get successful, then I'll do this. Or let me have more money, then I'll begin doing this. Let me fill in the blank, then I'll start doing this, and then I'll be successful. It doesn't work that way. Now, have people succeeded that way? Yes. They've gone against the flow of the universe, and they've struggled, as it were, to be successful. But success doesn't have to be a struggle. It's only as we believe that it has to be that we begin living from that mindset of struggle. But again, let's go back to what Scripture says. It says God's eternal power and character cannot be seen. But from the beginning of creation, God has shown what these are like by all He has made. Made where? In His creation. That's why those people don't have any excuse. Those are those who don't believe. When you look at creation, it's hard to refute that there was an origin for this creation, however you believe that it took place. We call that origin, that energy, that life force, God. We ascribe attributes to this life force, this energy known as God. Some people don't. This is irrelevant. What we do have to understand is that there's a force in which binds, keeps, holds us together. And in this force we live, we move, we have our existence. And apart from this force, we can do nothing. When we're separated from the God force, many of us know that as being dead. When body is separated from its life energy, that body no longer has life or animation. Now, spirit can't die because spirit is eternal. Spirit simply changes its form and takes on a new attributes or a new body. When you begin to understand that you're a spiritual being having a human experience, you'll begin creating with the flow of creation. You'll begin to be what it is that you want to be. You begin doing what it is that successful people do, for example. Then you'll begin to experience what it is that successful people experience. If you want to expedite your manifestation, you must begin by being, doing, then having. Having is the byproduct of your being. Many of us are trying to have first, but we never get into the state of being, so even that which we have for a moment, we lose. Jesus said it this way, "To them who have, more shall be given. But to them who have not, even that which they have shall be taken away from them." The having is operating from a state of being, then living, doing, and then the byproduct or the manifestation, lifestyle, is the having. But remember this, creators, that only you can create your perfect world. Not God or man. Only you can create your perfect world. This is Coach DeCarlo saying have a great and abundant day.